I won't name the company I used to work for, but it was large, multiple departments, each with its own office. Every year, our department did a Secret Santa, and every year it was fun, until 2015. That year, the person who signed up to buy my gift was the new guy, the office creep. I'll call him Crispin. Of course, I didn't know it was him. That was the point. We weren't supposed to find out who bought for who until after we took the gifts home, opened them, and then revealed everything the next day at work. I'd been assigned Margaret, an elderly woman who'd worked there for years. She loved bath bombs and spa stuff, so shopping for her was easy. I was in my mid-20s. I figured I'd be easy to buy for two. My gift felt like a picture frame. I could feel glass on one side when I tapped it lightly. It was badly wrapped, with a big fragile sticker slapped on the front, so I was careful taking it home. That night was already rough. I'd just broken up with a guy I met on Tinder. Seemed fine at first, then turned clingy and obsessive. I did it over the phone like an adult, then poured myself a glass of wine to calm down. By the time I remembered the Secret Santa gift, I was in this sad, floaty mood. I opened it carefully and thought I was hallucinating. Inside was a framed photo of a young, attractive couple standing on a beach. The guy was wearing a Speedo that left very little to the imagination. The woman was wearing one of those neon pink micro bikinis, the kind that's basically see-through. You know, the ones where you're almost naked but technically not. Distasteful, sure, but not the worst part. The worst part was this. My face had been badly photoshopped onto the woman's body. I'm pale, with almost black hair. She was a tan blonde model. No effort was made to match skin tones. I could still see strands of her hair sticking out behind my head. And then I noticed the man. His face had been replaced too, with Crispin's. I told myself it had to be a prank. Maybe one of the girls at work being cruel, since everyone joked about how creepy he was. That thought died when I saw the signature in the corner, written in Sharpie. His name. I felt sick. Already emotionally wrecked from the breakup, I left the photo on my desk and decided I'd deal with it the next day. The reveal at work was exactly as bad as you'd expect. We gathered during lunch to announce who bought for who. And yes, my gift was from Crispin. When he asked if I liked it, he sounded genuinely sincere. His face looked hopeful. What was I supposed to do? I should have gone to HR. I should have shown everyone the photo. But he outranked me, and he was friends with the boss. So I did the stupidest thing possible. I told him it was sweet. When it came time to show gifts, I said I'd forgotten mine at home and vaguely described it as a photo of Crispin and me. I know. Trust me, I know how stupid that was. That night, I took the frame apart. It was high quality, so I kept it. I expected maybe a message on the back of the photo. Nothing. So I ripped the picture to shreds. Especially the bikini body. Especially my face. I threw it in the trash, then took the trash outside. I wanted it as far away from me as possible. I didn't think about it again. Not until a few days later. I was in the break room making coffee when I heard the door open behind me. I said, "Hey," assuming it was someone friendly. Then I felt his breath on my cheek. Before I could react, he spun me around. His face was red. Furious. "Why did you throw my gift in the trash?" he asked. His fingers were digging into my arm. For the first time in my life, I felt genuinely threatened by a coworker. I didn't know what to say. What explanation could I even give? He squeezed harder and demanded an answer again. That's when I snapped. I shoved him back into the table and unloaded on him. Told him it was perverted, inappropriate, and unwanted. Then it hit me. How did you even know I threw it away? His answer was calm. Chilling. He said he suspected I might. So he'd been checking my garbage. I asked him why. Why the photo? Why me? He acted disgusted, like the idea of being attracted to me offended him. Then he said I was the one sexualizing it. That it was just two people standing together. That's when he grabbed me. Out of nowhere. He tried to force my face down onto the stovetop, still hot from boiling water. He was screaming about how I'd see how vain I was without my beauty. I screamed. The door burst open. Greg, our department manager, came in and tackled him. He'd smashed the door open with a fire extinguisher. Crispin had locked us inside. Greg slammed him into a cabinet and knocked him out cold. Later, Greg told me Crispin had been bragging to other guys at work about how his Secret Santa gift would make his female colleague sleep with him. Crispin was fired. I pressed charges. Security footage backed everything up. I still work there. I was eventually promoted into Greg's role. We still do Secret Santa, but new hires hear the story, just without my name. I'm a woman in my mid-20s. At the time, my boyfriend was away for work, coming home Christmas Eve. This happened a few days before that. I was alone in my single-story house, in pajamas, decorations up, watching garbage on Netflix. Then I heard it. Footsteps. On the roof. At first, I brushed it off. Houses make noise. Animals get into roof spaces. Whatever. Later, while gossiping with a friend on the phone, I mentioned it. She joked it was Santa. We laughed. Then I heard it again. Clear. Heavy. Running. I went outside, bundled up, but I couldn't see anything. I went back inside. Big mistake. Whoever was up there started running faster, circling the roof like a maniac. After half an hour, I went out again. This time I saw him. A filthy Santa suit. Emaciated. Pointing at me. He screamed that I was on the naughty list. I called the cops right in front of him. He paused, then started running again. And then, he sprinted and leapt to my neighbor's roof. Parkour Santa. Eventually, the cops caught him. Turns out he was a local meth addict trying to be Santa by running on roofs. He'd been dropping baggies of drugs down chimneys. They caught him after he ran face first into a chimney and knocked himself out. When my boyfriend came home, he thought it was hilarious. I didn't. I volunteered for a local Toys for Tots initiative. At the time, it wasn't well organized. We allowed secondhand and pre-wrapped gifts. Huge mistake. One day, carrying a stack of donations, I felt a sharp pain in my hand. A needle had pierced through a box. Inside, a box full of uncapped syringes, meant for kids. We unwrapped every pre-wrapped gift after that. We found a children's book altered with graphic adult images, a modified doll, a teddy bear stuffed with pig's blood. The program was shut down afterward. Whoever did it was never caught. Years ago, I worked at a craft store. We hosted a Christmas potluck at our assistant manager Janine's house. She was deathly allergic to peanuts. Everyone knew. The meal was great, until Janine started choking. She'd eaten peanuts. An EpiPen saved her life. Doctors confirmed it wasn't contamination. Someone had deliberately added peanuts. A mystery dish, meatloaf, had appeared. No one claimed it. Paranoia destroyed the workplace. Years later, we learned the truth. Janine's husband had prepared it. He tried to kill her and frame her coworkers. I'll never attend another potluck again. I never exactly hated my neighbor Ronnie, but I definitely didn't enjoy him either. He was one of those overly cheerful, larger-than-life, middle-aged divorcees. The kind who'd corner you to talk about sports you didn't watch, or neighborhood drama you didn't care about. And Ronnie loved gossip. I genuinely didn't care who was sleeping with who, or what medications people were on. But Ronnie lived for it. The real problem was that he lived right next door. And for some reason, he liked me. Ronnie had appointed himself the unofficial mayor of the neighborhood. That meant regular barbecues, safari suppers, movie nights in the home theater he built in his basement. Okay, fine. The theater was actually kind of cool. But most of the time, I had to force myself to show up. I was new to the neighborhood, newly divorced, living in a beautiful gated community my parents had left me when they retired to Arizona, for reasons I still don't understand. So avoiding Ronnie wasn't really an option. I accepted him as a necessary evil. The price I paid for living in an otherwise perfect home. Everything about Ronnie was just louder than it needed to be. He was always in the middle of some DIY project. Always starting too early. Always finishing too late. Always making way too much noise. His grandkids were the same way when they visited. And then there was the shed. Ronnie's shed was like something out of that song, What's He Building in There? Except there was no mystery. He bragged constantly. Picnic benches. Refinished recliners. Reframed Goodwill paintings. And lucky us, his neighbors, often became the unwilling recipients of these half-finished, half-successful projects. I know I sound like a jerk talking about him like this, but maybe it'll help to know that Ronnie is sitting right here as I'm telling this, grinning and egging me on. Because somehow, we're best friends now. Ride or die. And it all started the Christmas he drove me absolutely insane by playing Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time on repeat. Ronnie did everything big. That included Halloween. And Christmas. October 1st, full spooky exterior. December 1st, even bigger. Lights everywhere. Animatronics. Santa on the roof. The works. And I'll give him this, he was good at it. People loved his displays so much the HOA let him break rules without a word. And if you've ever dealt with an HOA, you know how rare that is. So Christmas Eve rolls around. The neighborhood is quiet, except for Ronnie's glowing lawn and flashing decorations. By this point, I'd learned to cope. I wore a sleep mask instead of becoming that guy at 27. But then, at 11:18 p.m., the music started. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. On loop. Only that song. 4 times in a row. No party sounds. No voices. Just the song. 5th time, louder. 6th, louder still. By the 9th loop, my windows were rattling. Lights were turning on across the neighborhood. Silhouettes watching Ronnie's house. I pulled on my coat and boots. That was it. Christmas Eve or not, I was going over there. But the moment I stepped onto his lawn, I knew something was wrong. One of his Santa decorations was smashed, and his front door was wide open. I thought about going back for my gun. Instead, I grabbed an axe leaning against his firewood pile. The house was trashed. Furniture overturned. Drawers ripped out. Pictures torn off the walls. And the music was coming from the living room. That's where I found him. Ronnie was slumped against the stereo cabinet, lying in a pool of blood. Barely conscious. One hand, slick with blood, rested on the volume knob. He'd been turning it up, trying to get someone's attention. Both legs were broken. One so badly I could see bone. One arm shattered. His face swollen beyond recognition. I looked for a phone. Ronnie started convulsing and glancing upstairs. Then I heard it. Footsteps. He wanted me to leave. I refused. Still holding the axe, I went upstairs. The guy was short, rifling through cabinets, pulling pictures off the wall, looking for a safe. I didn't think. I flipped the axe and smashed him with the handle. He didn't go down. He turned. Ski mask. Fury in his eyes. Gun in his hand. I swung again. This time he dropped. I grabbed the gun, then tied him up with every USB and Ethernet cable I could find, Boy Scout knots and all. I sat there shaking until another neighbor snapped me out of shock. The intruder was Ronnie's estranged son. He'd come to rob his father and decided to finish the job. Ronnie survived. Barely. He calls it a life debt. And now, 10 years later, he's still here. Wheelchair-bound. Still stubborn. Still loud. I help him decorate now. My wife helps too. My daughter calls him Uncle Ron Ron. We have one rule, though. We will never listen to that song again. Screw that song. Merry Christmas. This next story is my dad's. He refuses to write it himself, so I'm telling it the way he dictates it. Apparently, we decided to get a real Christmas tree. Mistake. We drove into a national forest, legal area, permits and all. Dad found the perfect tree. Out came the axe. Then came the screaming. An angry older couple stormed out of the woods. The man accused my dad of destroying the forest. Dad showed paperwork. The guy stomped it into the snow. My mom went nuclear. And while they argued, the woman tried to walk off with me. Dad noticed, punched the husband, chased the wife, tackled her into a tree. They tied them both up until the cops arrived. Nothing came of it. Their word against ours. But I vaguely remember the woman promising to take me to see Santa, which somehow makes it worse. In 1996, my son wanted one thing. A talking Buzz Lightyear. Impossible to find. Classifieds wanted insane prices. Then I found one. $40. Sweet old lady. Legit. I picked it up that night and got jumped outside her house. 3 teenagers. One of them stabbed me. Over a toy. They ran. I survived. My son didn't get Buzz that Christmas. He didn't complain. A week later, I finally found one in a store. Bought it immediately. That ugly spaceman nearly got me killed. Christmas Eve, Oklahoma, 2009. I got stuck in a blizzard. My car slid into a ditch. Snow buried everything. No signal. No escape. I was freezing to death. I hallucinated a deer-clad figure watching me from the woods. I thought I was dying. Then lights. A rescue truck. I survived severe hypothermia. Spent Christmas in a hospital bed. And honestly, not dying in a ditch was the best gift I ever got. Thanks for listening. Turn on notifications for more stories. And have a very careful Christmas.